Summer, I have sneeze. Oh, it's gone. Hey guys, it's Erin, and it's time for the first day of 12 days of anime, which, you know, if you saw my intro video, you would know what this is. If you didn't see my intro video, click here, click on my face. I'll put an annotation. I'll put the video right on my face. How about that? Is this right? Is that right? That right? Okay. If you follow me on Twitter, then you know earlier this week I mentioned that I'm going to be doing these more vloggy style as opposed to reviewy, which is how I did them last year, where I gave you like a full synopsis of the story and then like kind of went way more in depth, whereas this year I'm going to keep it, like I said, more vloggy, just kind of mention what my favorite moments are. Just because of time, I'm going to be going out of town this weekend. Actually, I'm going to be out of town the day that I'm uploading this. This week, I'm going to be in a completely different time zone. It's going to be time travel. For day one, I figured I would start with what is now one of my favorite series of all the anime series that I've ever seen in my 24, I think that's right, 24 years of breathing. The anime I'm talking about is, of course, Natsume Yuujinchou, or Natsume's Book of Friends, and if you have not seen it, it has a very simple premise. It's about a teenage boy named Natsume Takashi who has been able to see yokai, which are like Japanese folklore spirits, not demons. You should wiki it because I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. Should have looked that up before I started talking about it. Since he's able to see them and most other people cannot, he's labeled as a freak and passed around from relative to relative after his parents pass away. His grandmother could also see yokai, and he inherits her Book of Friends, aka a book with all sorts of different yokai names in it, and whoever has control of the book has control over all of these yokai. Of course, yokai abundant come after him, some of which want their names returned, and others of which that would just kind of like to kill him and take control of the Book of Friends for himself. One of those is Madara, aka Nyanko-Sensei, a powerful yokai who says he wants to kill Takashi and take the Book of Friends, but you know, I don't think that's true, because he kind of just decides to hang out for a little while because he wants to be entertained, and totally not because he is a tsundere and actually cares about Natsume. That can't be it at all. That's illogical. Natsume Yuujinchou is one of the most breathtakingly beautiful and heartwarming anime that I've ever seen. It's profound in its simplicity, and the calming nature of it has put me at ease even when I'm super duper stressed. Like, I can come home and watch an episode of Natsume and just feel at ease. It's kind of like you're meditating when you're watching the series, if that makes sense. It's just so nice and calming and sweet. The series is more episodic, which I usually have a harder time investing in, but the writing is so superb that every single story, no matter what episode it is or where you're in it, it's just lovely and pulls some kind of emotion out of you. And there's this overall theme that we as people need compassion, or not compassion, we need companionship. We also need compassion, but we need companionship. And in this story, whether that's yokai or people, it's just trying to find your place and learning that you can't isolate yourself, because there's not going to be any sort of joy or any sort of happiness when you do that. Every single episode had a scene or a character or a musical cue or something that just left an imprint on me, as cheesy as that sounds. And the majority of those scenes for me are the way that this series tackles Natsume's horrible childhood and just the hardship and loneliness he faced. Instead of becoming this jaded, horrible, evil person he could have become, like we see in so many other anime, that people who experience stuff like that could grow up to be not so good people. He's just a genuinely good person. Like, he's a sarcastic smartass sometimes, but it's wonderful. But he's just such a good person. And to see him like find a home was so happy. It made me so happy. And there's the specific scene of when he's facing the yokai that blows up, like explodes and destroys his room. His foster father comes in, and Natsume is terrified because he is so happy to be living there. And what? What's going on? This angel beats all over again. He's just so happy to be living there, and he wants nothing to go wrong. And so the terror that goes through him when this happens is just completely, it's on his face, it's completely obvious, it's incredibly well written. And then his foster father comes in and just pats him on the head and is like, oh God, what is going on? And he just says his line of, this is your home now. And it just makes you, I've never had a character that I've sat there and said, I want you to be so happy. I want you to have nothing go wrong because you're such a fantastic person and all this stuff keeps happening. You just deserve to be happy. That wasn't what I wanted to talk about. That is not what I meant to talk about. See, that's why I need to make 2 videos of this show because it's just so good. I have so much to say. The scene that I'm going to talk about is a scene that has stuck with me ever since I saw it. Like, I went back and rewatched just that scene so many different times. So I'm going to talk about that now, and it is a scene that if you're gonna watch the series, I don't think you want to be spoiled on. That sounds weird when I say that it's an episodic series, and then I'm like, you don't want to be spoiled on this, even though you can just jump around in it. But there is this underlying plot that's specifically the relationship between Natsume and Nyanko-Sensei that is something you don't want to like miss a single moment of. It's just a beautiful build, and I don't want to ruin this absolutely breathtakingly beautiful scene because the first time you see it, you'll understand. You'll understand the first time you see it that you don't want to be spoiled for it. So, you know, bye. My favorite scene of the entire show, though, is one that I have watched countless of times and reblogged all sorts of gifs of. It's in season 2. I think it's season 2. I'm pretty sure it's season 2. I watched the series so fast that it's hard to remember what episode is where, except for season 4, because this animation is like way better, even though it's not even that bad. Anyway, so in season 2, there's the episodes where, the 2-part episode where Taki is first introduced, and there's that demon that has like cursed her so that any name she says becomes a target of him. That guy, by the way, is one of the most terrifying yokai in the entire thing. He scared the crap out of me. That is also the episode where, the 2-part episode where Natsume loses his sight, like his ability to see yokai, because the thing like ties him with the rope around his neck and then licks his eye. So after he gets licked in the eye, they're slowly realizing that Natsume can't see yokai anymore. So they decide to test it by having Nyanko-Sensei, who, if you remember, in his fat cat form, is visible to humans. People can see him when he's in the cat, but when he transforms into Madara, only Natsume and people who have the gift of seeing yokai can see him. So Nyanko-Sensei becomes Madara, and Takashi realizes that he can't see yokai, like he is unable to see Madara. And as Natsume becomes visibly distraught by this, Madara, who is this fearsome, powerful beast that tons of yokai are terrified of, he leans forward and breathes on Natsume in the most gentle way possible. That is a scene that not only just took my breath away by how beautiful it is, but it also made me calm and it made me happy and comforted. Like, I felt like what Natsume did, because I was feeling him getting anxious and then I felt him get calm. Like, when I describe it, it sounds really simple, which isn't doing it justice, because it is honestly one of the most complex emotional scenes in the entire series, and just shows how well written and developed the two's relationship is. And I love it. Golly, it's so sweet. I just love it so much. So that is it for my first day of 12 days of anime. I know I said it was going to be kind of vloggy. I think this was more vloggy. Maybe too vloggy. Maybe it was too long. I don't know. Really quick, before, since we're talking about Natsume Yuujinchou, and just to show how much I really do love that scene, how much that scene is my favorite episode, I actually tried to draw it the other day. I haven't drawn in years, so no judgy wudgies, but I had a really good time. So it's just wonderful. It's just a really fantastic series, you guys, so you should definitely check it out. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2.